T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to Our Paramotor Nation. Tonight's show is sponsored by 1UP Adventures and ParamotorProps.com. Sharing their passion for flight on adventures around the world, they make a trip of a lifetime accessible for you. They are a supplier of carbon fiber propellers in the U.S. at extremely low prices and have become a leader in the country for getting tandem training and helping to obtain your required tandem exemption. Located just outside of Lansing, Michigan, Fly My PPG is a USPPA ASC certified paramotor training facility offering a full-service paramotor training experience with 3 on-site instructors and class sizes that are limited to 6 students, all on a beautiful, private 90-acre airport. Fly My PPG offers on-site lodging and RV camping. Space is limited, so don't wait to make your reservation. Contact Mike Cotter or Justin Fox. And don't miss out on the upcoming scheduled classes combining the efforts of 1UP Adventures and Fly My PPG at Wauchula Airport, January 23rd through 31st, February 20th through 28th, and March 20th through the 28th. Check out their website to get your spot before those are filled. Check out Paraswag USA, your complete powered paragliding gear source, providing you with an extremely light and extremely affordable Rebel 2 RS Paramotor from Evo Aviation, as well as other gear and accessories, everything you need to get started in powered paragliding. Take the next big step in your paramotor training at Skylab Paramotor SIV. Here, paramotor pilots of all skill levels will learn collapse recovery and advanced maneuvers. Top-of-the-line advanced instruction in the safest environment possible with a full line of rental gear. Wisconsin Flight Sports makes it affordable and accessible for you to get your paramotor training in a safe way. In addition to their paramotoring gear, they can also help you design your own custom Icaro Solar X helmet to your specifications. Don't wait weeks to get your paramotor. They are in stock with SkyMax Paramotors, one of the best paramotors available, and they are ready to be shipped to you today. Wisconsin Flight Sports has just also announced a special class in Gulf Shores, Alabama. Go to their website for more details. Celebrating their 10th anniversary, the team at Fly PPG Discovered Power Paragliding has helped people from around the world to get into our great sport. They are the Midwest importer and distributor of Adventure Paramotors, trikes, and wings. They offer tandem flights and a 7-day training certification program. Come out to their 48-acre farm in Fowlers, Illinois to see why it is called the Field of Dream. PPG Smoke has everything you need, from paramotor float systems to chase cameras, to smoke systems to strobe systems. PPG Smoke has so much more of what you need to take your paramotoring adventures to the next level. Visit their website at ppgsmoke.com. Aviator Paramotor has become a cornerstone for paramotor training throughout the country, while offering its students some of the top paramotoring equipment in the land. With 2 locations in beautiful Florida, class availability has never been more convenient. With raving reviews, Lone Star Paramotor has become one of the most sought-out paramotor schools in the South near San Antonio, Texas, offering foot launching and trike training classes and so much more. They are a USPPA certified flight school. Wicked Wings Logos can help you have your own custom glider with a logo having 1 or more colors. Get all the information you need to order your logo today on the Our Paramotor Nation website. Light up the skies with PPG lights and make one heck of an impression with countless patterns and colors on your paramotor. No aircraft can miss seeing you when you are flying at twilight with PPG lights. And be sure to check out After Dark every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock for more paramotor chat, hosted on the Trike Flyer channel by your host, Dave Ruff. Make sure you are checking out the Our Paramotor Nation website to see all the upcoming shows, all the past shows, and visit all of our sponsors. And now, let's get started with this week's episode of Our Paramotor Nation.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome to Our Paramotor Nation. We are just the last few days of 2020. Thank goodness. Let's get some positivity going in the show tonight. We have Alayna Huneycutt joining us this evening. Want to also introduce my co-host on the show, Dave Ruff, Trike Flyer or whatever. He flies everything at this point. Come on in, guys. There he is. He flies quads. He flies trikes. He foot launches. What else? You're going to fly a one wheel into the air at some point, I think.
No, last one wheel I was on, I hit the ground pretty hard. So I'm going to leave that to the professionals.
Disaster. Sean Ripman Ryden just joined us as well. What's up?
Hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Alayna.
Yay! Glad to be here.
Making her third appearance. This is actually Elena's third appearance, but first time by herself. The first appearance was way back in one of the very first episodes. I think it was episode 8 or 10 that then just a boyfriend, Mark Huneycutt, was out in Korea. And Alayna came on. Do you remember this, Alayna? I got her on and I said, okay, Mark, your biggest fan won a drawing, and this person is now going to get to say hi to you. And Alayna came on. It just so happened to be hers. So Alayna came out of that. And then we had an all women's show about a year or so ago, I think it was. And she was on for that as well. And now she's here because she's had one heck of a year despite this craziness of COVID. Before we get to Alayna, I have a couple more announcements. I know that is the world's longest introduction, but we got to make sure we recognize all our sponsors. We're so grateful for our sponsors. Oh my gosh, all the prizes. Ripman Ryden went nuts last week with his fingers typing in names for all those prizes. I got to say this, if you didn't receive, most of the prizes were sent out. They'll probably be received in the next couple days here. Some of the prizes, I'm actually still waiting on a box of prizes from one of the sponsors. So if you haven't gotten your prize yet, it'll be there in the next few days or in the next week or so. Also, one of our sponsors who donated some prizes was Justin Fox of Fly My PPG. He donated a chase camera, and the other prize. Now this happened right at the last minute. Justin texted me while the show was going on and just wrapping up, was for a prop. And this is a 125 centimeter prop. It's an E-prop for a Nitro 200, a Moster 185, or an Atom 80. So Justin's actually traveling right now. He's in Florida with his family. So if you win this prop tonight, you will get you'll get his prize after he gets back. So give it a little bit of time. We'll make sure that you do get it. Stay active in the chat. I think till about 10, Dave Ruff is going to be taking names. So make sure that you are active in the chat and have a chance to win this prize from Justin Fox. Also, in addition to Fly My PPG, Justin makes some really amazing paramotors. It's called Skyfox. So go to skyfoxparamotor.com. Check it out if you are in the market for a paramotor or you're looking for your next paramotor. All right, got to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Next week, January 3rd, our episode, Spousal Support. Spousal Support, bring your paychecks. No, this is how to, I don't know. It's going to be 4 ladies who all had husbands and then their husbands got into it and how they came to terms and felt comfortable with their husbands flying. Going to have on Jennifer Oakley, my wife, Jennifer Wolf, Carrie Burns and Carrie Cotter are going to be joining us for that show. One more thing. I want to wish a very happy birthday to a gentleman whose birthday is in 2 days. He's also a sponsor of the show, a friend of all of ours that are on the show right now, and that is Andy Fuller from Skylab SIV. If you are friends with Andy on Facebook, make sure you check out his Facebook page here in the next day or so. He's going to be doing a fundraiser for Resurgence PPG, and we want to raise as much money for them as possible. Tonight, is that all my thing? I think that's it. And of course, After Dark on Wednesday night with Dave Ruff on the Trike Flyer channel.
Heck yeah.
I think that's it. We've got a fun thing for Alayna planned tonight. We're actually going to do a game show. A game show for Alayna. This was specifically made for her. Nobody else can play this game show but her. And we're going to be asking her a couple questions. We'll do it in a few minutes. We're not going to wait too long to get to that because it's going to be fun and exciting. But Alayna's going to get 5 questions. I hope. Has anybody seen if Resurgence PPG is in the chat yet? I haven't seen him come up yet. Hopefully he's in the chat, or he will be in the chat. But we're going to have Alayna try to attempt to raise $100 from Our Paramotor Nation to Resurgence PPG. For every question of 5 questions that she gets right, $20 will be donated tonight to Resurgence PPG. It's very exciting. All right, enough. Alayna Huneycutt is here. For the first time, Alayna Huneycutt is here, formerly known as Alayna Dickerson.
Yeah.
How has your year been for you?
It's been good. I mean, it's been a lot of growing pains, I think, for everybody, but I can't complain as you put kind of on your advertisement for me. But overall, it's been pretty good. It's just nice to like have Mark in the same country as me now. So.
So what's been the most exciting thing, getting married to Mark or doing your SIV with Andy?
Oh man, that's so hard.
Oh, come on.
No, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's been such a long year that like it just feels like we got married forever ago now, but no, both were like very exciting. I mean, the wedding was like a whirlwind. It was so quick because we just like got news that Mark was coming home from Korea and we had like a week notice and that was it. Whereas like originally, so let me kind of give the timeline. And it's funny because nobody's really heard this story. We haven't really like shared it yet, but originally it was like around February or March, right before COVID kicked up. And Mark was still in Korea and I was at home and he just kind of called me and we were talking like a FaceTime kind of like this. And he was just kind of like, let's do this. And I was like, what? And he's like, let's get married. And I was like, okay, let's do it. I mean, of course I was super excited. I cried. It was definitely a very happy moment. And we started planning this.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Did he propose to you over a video conference call?
Pretty much. I mean, we didn't get to see each other that much. And so it was like our most vital form of communication. And it like at the time, I still don't think of it as like, I don't wish that he had done it another way. It was still like, it was super special and it was sweet. He kind of led up to it. I didn't really know where he was going with it, but he was asking me these questions about like, if I would want to like live together and like if I would be willing to go with him wherever he was going in the military. And I was just like, yeah, I thought I made that clear. Like, yeah, like where are you going with this? And he was like, all right, well then let's get married. And I was like, what?
Oh, wow.
So then from there, we were planning a normal wedding for May. Like I always knew that when we did decide to get engaged, we weren't going to do a long engagement. So we were planning on getting married in May and we did get married in May. So, but we had about like 3 weeks of like, it's going to be normal. And we're planning this big wedding with all of our friends. And then the COVID hit. And so we just kind of had to go back to the drawing table because then Mark got like, he had to stay in Korea. They weren't going to let him come home. So then he had to put in this like really special, like, pass. It's like he had to like ask them if they would let him leave so he could come back and get married. And it had to go through all these people. It took months for us to get word about it. We had set a date for getting married, but we didn't know if it was going to work out. And we were just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. It was a 3-month process of him like putting in this paperwork, requesting to go home, and nobody was going home from Korea at that time. And he was one of like very few people to get that accepted, but we only got a week notice. They said to Mark, okay, you can go. 24 hours later, he was on a plane and he was flying back home. And so then like, luckily our family knew we wanted to get married. Everybody it was all up in limbo, but we threw together this wedding in a week and it was just our immediate family there. And at the end of the day, we both were like, I wouldn't have done it any different. It was so perfect. It was awesome. It was special and meaningful. Our whole plan anyways, originally for our wedding was to do a private ceremony with just our family because we wanted it to be special and meaningful and not have like 200 strangers staring at us. So it wasn't too far off from what we wanted.
So just to be question for you was Clint Chamales flying around his paramotor over your head as you guys were taking the vows, or was that somebody else's?
Nope, that was somebody else's. Another very like lovely couple close to my heart. Love Anthony and Leandra. They're so sweet.
So, how many years have you known Mark?
This is funny. I've known Mark since I was 16.
Right, like from the pool, right? Back at the pool, is that where it started?
We lifeguarded together at a pool when I was 16, but Mark was 19 and he was in college. And we were just friends. Like, I don't know why I didn't look at Mark like that then. And we hung out in like friend groups throughout that summer. But then like Mark went back to college and we just, sorry, I'm saying bye to my brother. He's leaving. But yeah, we just didn't really keep in touch after that. We worked together at the pool and then 8 years went by. And Mark just kind of reached out to me. I guess he saw kind of what I was doing on social media. I work at the airport, so I do aviation related stuff, and I was doing a lot of traveling, and he was asking me about that. And then I kind of asked him about paramotoring. I saw what he was doing, and I was really interested in it. And I was just kind of asking all the questions that anybody asks about paramotoring when you're first like, what is that? Like, how safe is it? How do you do it? Is it expensive? You know, those are the questions everybody asks. And
Alayna, you know your husband pretty well, you would say. Probably very, very well, correct?
yeah, I like to think so.
I think this is probably a good spot then to play this crazy game called How well do you know your husband, Mark Huneycutt? Okay, the music was so super.
He worked all night on planning that.
That's awesome.
I tried. All right, you ready to play this game? Because we got stories involved in a lot.
Hold on, I just have two questions for her. Did Mark have any eyes for you prior to you reaching out to him about paramotoring? Did he ever admit to that?
I don't know. You know, I haven't asked him that.
I bet you he did. You got to ask him.
You know what? I bet you Mark will pop on here in a little bit, and then ask him that question when he comes in.
Okay.
He'll make a guest appearance here pretty soon.
And then one question for you. When you saw Mark was paramotoring, did you kind of take a liking to him and found him interesting and you wanted to meet him and paramotoring was a way to do that? Or you just really, you wanted paramotoring only and Mark was nothing? Well, it's a good question. Like, you know, I mean,
You use him for his paramotoring skills.
I don't know. I mean, I think that like, I don't know if you're seeing a little person pop in the background, but my nephew's here.
oh,
I think initially, like, it was just a conversation starter. You can see a little boy here. It was a conversation starter for us, and I was definitely interested in it, but I didn't know if he just wanted to be friends or what it was going to end up being. I wasn't really like actively trying to like hang out and do paramotor stuff with Mark, but he just ended up calling me up and making it happen. And then from there, Dave, I see you laughing at my nephew in the background. And then from there, it just kind of escalated and went. So I don't know if that answers your question, but.
well, I mean, you're not admitting if you had eyes for him, but
John, how many more personal questions?
that's it. I'm done. I just was curious.
But he definitely sought me out if we're.
So you both kind of liked each other, but kind of kept it, you know, quiet. And then it was obviously going to blossom because the paramotoring brought the two of you together. And then once you guys met, it was like game on, you know?
Did you want
I guess after 8 years.
Yeah.
ask Elena about their first kiss? Or
No, I'm done. Go ahead with your game, David.
Are you ready? Are you ready to play How Well Do You Know Your Husband, Mark Huneycutt, Elena?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. All right, here is the first question. Recently, you guys took a little trip, a little flight together, and you landed out. You jogged. I'm not sure why, but that's cool. I mean, I don't know why anybody would do that much, but that's all right. And you went through these rations, and one of the rations were. Now remember, every correct answer is a $20. $20 towards Resurgence PPG. So there's a lot of. This is pretty important. There's a lot riding on this. These one of the things that Mark liked the best was called cheddar cheese pretzels. If I went to the grocery store, what is the common name for cheddar cheese pretzels according to Mark Huneycutt?
Combos.
Is she right? Yeah, she's right. Congratulations, $20. Woo! And you're supposed to be hearing, congratulations. All right. I don't know why it's not going to speaker view tonight, guys. Or to gallery view. I don't know why it's not working. Oh, well, you're just gonna have to see us one at a time. All right. Congratulations. That is $20 for
Awesome.
this game's easy, right? All right. So I don't know if you know this, Dave and John. One thing that Elena does, she's a very charitable person, and she has this charity that she's very a part of, which helps abandoned, they're abandoned adults. You know, you've heard of abandoned children, and there's abandoned adults, and sometimes, here she is with one of those abandoned adults right now.
Oh my.
I've met him. I actually saw him at the street corner next to a bridge.
Look
when I
at
was
that
flying
poor
out to
soul.
Florida. He had a cup out and a sign, saying, "Hey, we'll fly for a quarter." And he was a really nice guy, but just really kind of run down,
All right. No, this is our friend.
Wait. I need him to send me this picture because I don't have it.
So this is actually from his video that he did of the bad apples flying back in 2018, 2 years ago. And, it's funny. I can't remember what the question was. I got so into this. Oh God, I totally forgot what the question is. I know what the question is. Okay. So this is the bad apples flying. Now, the year before this, Alayna, that bad apples flying was the, what I guess you guys call was your first real date. Is that correct?
Second. Yeah. It was like our second time hanging out, really. Somehow he convinced me to drive 5 hours and hang out for a week.
But in this particular fly-in, you came by yourself. There was no Mark there, right? And this was the first time we got to meet face to face. And it was interesting because we had just finished doing, we were actually on paraglidingtalk.com on Thursday night with Robert Michaels. And John Ripman Ryden happened to be the guest that night. So I hadn't even met John at this point. And you came in just as the show was ending. You actually got to talk to Robert on the after show. And I walked up to you and we had just finished cooking dinner. And I said to you, hey, I don't know if you're hungry or not, but I've got some food here. Would you like this? And I gave you some food, a particular type of food. And you said, you know what? My boyfriend has never taken me out for this delicacy of a food that your boyfriend never had taken you out for $20.
I think I know where this question's going. So you're going to ask me what the food was?
Food. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I have to answer with a short story because I got to that fly-in in the dark. It was dark when I got there. I don't know how you found me. I had seriously just gotten there, got out of my car, and I was walking by myself through the grass. And you just picked me out in the dark and you were like, I know you, come do this thing with me. We're doing this podcast. And I was like, awesome, let's go. And you gave me a steak and you guys gave me whiskey. And I was like, wow, you guys know a way to a girl's heart because you gave me a steak and you gave me whiskey and it was great.
You just made me sound like the biggest creep in the world. Thank you.
No.
So Dave, is steak correct?
Well, I don't know. Is that your answer?
That's my answer. I hope I'm not wrong because that's what I remember eating. And potatoes.
Yes.
Congratulations. $20 more. That's $40 for Resurgence PPG. I don't know what's going in the chat right now, but I hope you guys are thinking this is funny and not totally stupid. Another one of my dumb ideas.
No, it wasn't creepy. It was really sweet. I was walking in the dark by myself, so it was nice to have somebody just be like, hey, I'm going to feed you and give you some whiskey and let's hang out. So that was awesome.
Well, I think I had to go potty and I thought I would pee behind the Resurgence tent. And that's probably how you found it. No, I'm kidding. All right. Let's get to the next question. All right.
If it wasn't creepy before, it just became creepy.
All right. All right. Next question. This is Mark Huneycutt. Now, everybody knows that Tucker got himself famous, got all these subscribers by flying to McDonald's and flying back home. But here's young Mark Huneycutt, and he had to take his vehicle in for service, and he decided to fly his paramotor back home from what dealership?
David,
What?
it's in the photo. Jeez Louise.
God, I erased it.
Oh, yeah? You missed it.
Sure. Oh, I do see it now.
Well, Mark only owns, since I've known him, a Toyota. So I'm going to say Toyota.
That is correct. There it is. I missed the one on the window.
Dave,
Oh,
you
that's
need
great.
supervision not only during the pre-show to launch a show, but
That's
apparently
great.
during the questions for money.
All right. Alayna Huneycutt, you have earned $60 so far for Resurgence PPG.
Yay! Todd's proud of me.
Are you ready to press on? Are you ready to go for more?
Yeah, hit me. Let's go.
You have to. The show doesn't continue. Okay, so Mark likes to push the limits sometimes, right? He likes to set records, maybe altitude or speed records. Okay, so the question for you is this, Alayna. Within 5 miles an hour, I'll give you 5 miles an hour more or less. What has been Mark's top speed flying a paramotor? I see you're a little worried. You got this. You might not get this
I
one.
want to say it's 109.
Are you sure? Do you want to think about it? Do you want to change the answer?
I don't think so. You're making me. No, I want to.
No, I'm kidding. It's 109.
Yeah.
I got it right. I was scared I wasn't going to get it right.
I knew she'd get that one right. I told you, David.
That's when I wasn't. That's $80. There's only one question left, I think, right? And it's only one. Yeah, one question left. Now, I'm going to ask you this question. This is a very difficult question. Okay. So wait till I'm done because I may even give you a couple hints. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. As you know, Mark serves the Army. This is So obviously, the military is very important to both of you. All right. This is for all $100 now. First, let me show you the photo. There's a certain 501c that Our Paramotor Nation supports. I know you're a supporter of, but you may have forgotten the name. And this 501c provides an opportunity for emotional and physical, adaptive, capable veterans and warriors to overcome personal challenges through adaptive sports, participation in order to build resilience as well as rehabilitate physical, emotional, and spiritually. Okay, I'm going to ask you what the name of this 501c is, but I want to make sure you get it right or have the best chance. There's a hint. There's a person standing behind you, this big green blob, and this person has blue eyes, and he's carrying a sweat towel. I don't know why, but he's carrying a sweat towel. Alayna Huneycutt, for the total of $100 being donated to Resurgence PPG, what is the name of this 501c?
Resurgence PPG.
That is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
There's Todd Scandrette. Very good. That is the end of How Well Do You Know Your Husband? Congratulations, Alayna. You did fantastic.
Nice. Thanks. That was fun.
I got to go back and look and see if anybody's in the chat. Okay, good. There we go. All right. Wow. Congratulations. You did fantastic.
Thanks.
Cool. So we talked before we stopped talking during the pre-show about some of the things that were going to be. Yankee Paramotor says he's sweaty. So what was some of the stories you said about bad apples? Did we already hit that?
We did, but I want to say that picture that you just put up with us and Todd, that has a story. Todd was actually the first person I ever flew with. You start out with like solo flights, and like I flew with Todd before I flew with Mark. And we were in this place called Moxville, North Carolina. Todd was a huge supporter of me learning to fly. He was always showing up in like the hopes of I would take my first flight, but weather would happen, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, this was like, that picture was from when I was like fresh, brand new pilot. Todd met up with us there and he flew with me, and it was super cool to go from doing solo flights to flying alongside somebody. And Todd was super special to that whole process for me.
Yeah, I want to say this too about both of you. And I've told this story before, but there's a lot of people that I watch the show now. Oh, good. Todd, I see is in the chat. I just happened to look down. There's a lot of people that have seen these shows in the past, and there's certain people who are just coming into the world of paramotoring, so they haven't heard these stories. And Alayna shows up and at Bad Apples the next morning. One of the mornings after, she's getting ready to launch, and she goes out to the field, and the wind was all shifty, and it just wasn't right conditions. And she's standing up there, and I don't remember if you had a failed launch or not, but the thing that was bothering me, I was watching you trying to focus and dial in and be completely ready to go, and all these people are taking pictures of you, and it may have, you've only flown about a month or two longer than I have. So both of us are still relatively noobs in this sport at this point. And it was a moment where Todd walked out and said to you what? He said, think of him.
Yeah, that night was after this crazy storm blew through.
Yeah.
It was so crazy that there was like 6 of us holding down the Resurgence PPG tent. By the way, I'm wearing a Christmas onesie. It's still Christmas in my family, but we're all holding down this Resurgence tent. Storm blows out and it's like dead wind. So the launch area becomes a fishbowl because people are taking off in every direction and people are just like crashing, turning things over. I never attempted to launch. I just was sitting here and watching all of this. And I was like, ooh. And I had my motor on and I was sitting there and I was just looking at everything. And Todd walked up to me and he was like, hey, you can make whatever decision you want to. I support you if you want to go fly, but just like, look at this. It's a shiz show. Like, people are breaking props. They're launching in every direction. And he was like, you can fly right now, but is it the flight that you want to have? Or are you going to go up and you think it's going to be awesome? Or do you think, maybe, is it really the flight that you want? And I was like, no, it's not. And I almost felt like for a minute I was just launching because, a lot of people wanted to see me launch. And I was just like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I just picked all my stuff up and walked off the field. So
I don't think you heard me because you had those huge earmuffs on that you've always flown with. But I remember shouting to you that I was proud of you and you made the right decision walking off the field.
That's awesome.
I was proud of Todd for stepping up and saying something too. I thought that was fantastic. I want to thank a couple of people real quick who've made some donations here in the chat. Chris Fenimore made one right before we started on the show. Michael Weatherspoon just made one, and York Dankeys also just made a donation to the show. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate that very, very much. Something I picked up from one of the last, we'll talk about this new toy that you just got, or maybe Mark just got, or you both just got from our friend down there in Louisiana. But one thing I was just thinking about when I watched, the first picture that I posted of you guys having lunch together. No, I think it was the video after that you guys posted where you landed right next to the water there on that beach.
Yeah.
And, Mark's on a very different level of flying and his comfort level is far higher than a lot of people's. Okay. And you could tell you weren't ready to land there. You said, I'm really uncomfortable doing this. And he's like, okay, yeah, that's cool.
I'm kind of flattered that you're bringing this up because it makes me feel good that is noteworthy, that those are difficult landing and launch situations. I'm glad I did it though. Mark spent a year in Korea just challenging himself, taking off and landing in all these weird tight spots. And the thing is what I'm most nervous about is for that one in particular. We're landing in sand. I'm like, ooh, is that sand going to be really soft? Am I going to turn my ankle? I'm not so much worried about having a catastrophic landing as I am it would suck to turn my ankle, have a really hard time launching, potentially not able to launch from there. And then later, Mark's got to hike out to wherever I am and get me, but it ended up going okay. I think that's just kind of human to just be kind of anxious about it. But at the same time, I wanted to do it. If I had no desire, if I was too scared to do it, I would have just never even gone out there with him. So
let me ask you this question, because I think there's a great learning lesson that you can provide right here. When you're flying with somebody, and forget the second that he's your boyfriend, husband, best friend, okay? You're flying with another pilot who's a much higher skill level than you, okay? And we're being honest. What added pressure is there to fly to that level, especially if you have a goal like, hey, we're going to go out to this remote place, we're going to land on this beach and it's going to be great and you can do it. So one is, what kind of pressure is added on? And then two, what do you do to say, hey, I'm not comfortable with that? Well, it's a little different being the wife, I guess, too. But, let's say I'm flying with Ripa, and Ripa's a far better pilot. And he goes, come on, we're going to go fly over by the ocean here. We're going to foot drag the water. And I'm going, what advice do you give to a person that says, hey, I'm not comfortable with that?
Well, I think I am lucky that I have my partner with me. And, there is pressures added into it. for one thing though, like I do trust Mark. So if Mark thinks I can do it, I'll express even like, I'm nervous about this, I don't know. And Mark's like, no, you can do this. So if Mark truly believes I can do this, that doesn't come from him just wanting to do it and pushing me to do it. He truly thinks and believes that I can do it. So I trust him in that and I push myself to do it. At the same time, when I am challenging myself to do a more difficult launch or landing, I put a lot of pressure on myself because I do care about Mark's opinion of me. I want him to think of me as like a very responsible and competent pilot, not somebody that he has to like baby and worry about. And he doesn't anymore. I mean, you know, early on he did, but that's just normal for being a new pilot. But now I think he challenges me in a way that's very like appropriate for where I'm at.
Do you think he's cute still? I'm just kidding.
Of course.
I had another question for you and I just forgot it. By the way, if there's any questions in the chat, please don't hesitate to throw them out there for Alayna. We are going to do an after show tonight. We're going to make sure we made sure it's going to work. So I apologize for last week that it did not work, but we will have an after show later on tonight. Alayna's going to stay in for just a little bit. She's got to get back to some family as well.
Hey, Dave, real quick. I've been kind of working in the background. I made a comment that we needed 50 thumbs up in order to even mention spinning the wheel because we got a great prize tonight. And I just want to let you know that we went from like 29 to 50, just boom.
Oh, thanks, Dave. That's awesome. Appreciate it. Oh gosh, what was the other question? Darn it. Rip, what was the other question?
I was trying to think of it, but I couldn't remember. Did it have to do with Mark's what Mark rides around on? No, right?
Let's talk. Oh, I know what it was. So
Yeah.
talking about your comfort level and becoming a better pilot. And so you just did something that Dave and John and myself did, and we've talked about quite a bit on the show, and that's the SIV with Skylab and Andy Fuller and Leah Catullo. Tell us what, I mean, for anybody that's seen the videos, we know that you were able to do a SAT, which is so much fun to do. I love doing SATs. How do you think this has changed you?
Man, it's so hard to say. I think we learned so much in such a small amount of time. I'm sure you know the feeling because you personally went and did that. But I mean, I went into the weekend thinking that like I wouldn't even be challenged to do the type of stuff that Mark was doing, like SATs and stalls. And like day one, I did stalls. And I just really think, you know,
Is that your first time getting towed up to 5,000 feet?
Yeah, which that was really cool. That was awesome. There's like a whole process to that as well. And like, you want to do that really well. I think like I had a strong desire to do everything right. So it was funny coming out of that. Andy was like, you need to trust yourself more. And he looked at Mark and he was like, you need to trust yourself less. Because when Andy would tell me to do something, I would try and just like, I was like, I have to do this perfectly. I have to be a good student. I'm going to just try and do this by the book, how he told me. And Mark would listen well too, but he just like his approach into things. Definitely one thing I learned, like, let's say just for example, doing a full stall. Okay, so here's Alayna doing a full stall, taking a wrap, pulling brakes. And I'm like this nice steady brakes, even pressure on both sides. And then I'm stalled and I was like staying in it. I didn't do this like starfish. I was like, I have to be a good student. I'm going to do this perfectly. And I stuck in it and they went pretty well for me. Whereas like Mark's impression of stalls is like, okay, brakes. And Mark's like, boom, like just slam his brakes down and all hell would break loose. So I'm getting off track. I'm sorry. I forget even what the question was, but.
How did it change you? I mean, for me, I came home significantly more confident. What did this big impact for you?
For me, I wouldn't even say like, I was already pretty confident in my wing, but I became more confident in like me being able to get myself out of tough situations if I ever found myself in that. And also keeping my head in them, because your first day you're doing like asymmetric deflations and you're like, oh, half my wings deflated, but I'm just like smoothly and quietly pulling opposite brake to just fly along straight. This isn't dramatic and crazy. Stalls are kind of like crazy, but like asymmetric deflations, if it's just like even 50%, you're like, oh, I can handle this. Like it just gives you more confidence in yourself to physically be able to handle those situations.
There's something for everybody at Skylab SIV with Andy. In fact, very briefly, I'll just say this. I was talking to one of our former guests, the proprietor, owner, trainer of Predator Paramotor, Chris Holbert, who's an amazing pilot, flies with Minyard and Santa Croce quite a bit. And he had just gotten back there, and he had told me, I said, what could you have possibly learned? Were you guys just having fun up there doing toes? He goes, Dave, I learned so much. I've never done a stall before like that. And so all skill levels from right out of training to get your SIV done. Speaking of Minyard, you and Mark just recently got a new McFly.
Yeah, we did. So that's like, there's like people, and there's so many people in the paramotor world that I like really appreciate. You touched on Chris Santa Croce. We've had the pleasure of meeting him a couple times, and he's just like amazing, super just like kind and giving person. And Andy is killer at what he does. I just feel this is important to say because you've dropped these names before I get on to Matt, who's also awesome. Andy is absolutely made to do what he does with Skylab. I mean, he is just killer.
I agree 100%.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it suits him so well.
Yep.
He is exceptional at what he does. And I like cannot wait to go back and do another weekend. And I can't wait to do it with Leah and Jonathan and all the people he has. And his girlfriend's amazing too. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Matt is awesome too. Like Matt was one of the first people I met in the paramotor world at EFD when me and Mark first started dating. And we've kind of kept this relationship with him. Now me and Mark are living in Louisiana. And we went and visited him in Lafayette for a weekend. Lafayette, however you want to say it. Everybody in Louisiana says Lafayette a million different ways, but where he's located and where his school is. And he was like, hey, Mark, you should try out my McFly. And we went out there just hang out with him. And he's like, I got motors. You guys try my motors. So I flew his Atom 80 on the McFly, and Mark flew this souped up Moster with the extra
cage
frame and the 140 prop and like just everything decked out on it. And I took off with the Atom 80 and I was like, I'm like not climbing at all. I'm used to the Nitro 200, so I'm used to a lot more power. And I got on that Atom 80 and I was like, me. But we flew that. We had fun. And Mark was like, I really like this motor. So we ended up wanting to get it. I didn't think I was going to like it because I've flown Moster 185s before, and it's just too much power for how little I am. I really don't need it. But then I flew Mark's on the McFly frame, and I was in love with it because.
So you switch to a 185 now?
Do what?
You switch to a Moster?
Oh man, if we just had the funds sitting around, I would in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's the question I asked because, like you just said, you know, for your size, you know, does it make a difference of 185 versus an Atom 80? I mean, yeah, it's a little bit lighter, but it's not that much lighter that you could.
And I really like having more power. I think if they came out with something, Bitarazi came out with something between an Atom 80 and a 185, that would be like sweet spot for me, like on par with the Nitro.
Yeah, they need to come out with like a 120 to a 150.
Yeah, because that's like, I mean, honestly, the Nitro, the amount of power it offers is just like perfect for what I want and what I need. I don't really need a Moster, but the McFly frame, like it's incredible. It's just like there's no torque. The torque compensation with those carbon fiber spars, you don't even think of it as something that you're like really wanting because I've flown the Nitro for so long. It's not like I'm like, the torque. But then when you fly a motor with no torque, you're like, what? This is so nice. Like, it is like, I didn't think I was going to like it that much. I was scared to fly it because I was like, ooh, this is Mark's brand new, super nice motor. I don't know if I want to fly it. And he's like, no, fly it. And I was like, I don't know. And then I flew it and I was like, wow, I like this.
Alayna, you flew the big cage? The Mark's, that's, Leah flies that. She's been flying it for a while. And I've seen,
is a badass.
I know, but I've seen her take off barefoot, no wind, in like 2 steps with a size 15 glider.
I love Leah. She is so A, badass, and B, she's just an encouraging person. Like, she's got this trait where she sees potential in you and she wants to just like help you grow that.
Pull it out of you. Yeah.
Great. I want to, we got a couple of questions from the chat. I do want to thank 2 people that also made donations to the show. Linda Anderson, she is the PR representative for Robert Michaels and paraglidingtalk.com this Thursday night. You can check them at 9 o'clock. Robert's in the chat right now. He's saying he loves Alayna and Mark. So there you go. And then also, Jerry D'Elia, also, he also made a donation to the show. Jerry's up in Canada. He's got a great YouTube channel, if you've ever seen it. And Jerry is going to be joining. We're buttoning down the date, but I think January 10th, Jerry's going to be joining us on the show. So you heard it.
Jerry did say hey to me earlier. So I just want to say hey back, Jerry.
All right. So we have a couple questions. Sean Nasker. I'm sorry I said it like that, Sean. I just want to make sure I pronounce your name right. Nasker. Sean Nasker says, let's hear about the new machine. Oh, we just did that. Thoughts on it. He was asking about the motor. Okay, great. Ray Morgan wants to know, did you try to launch any system that you felt was too heavy before you started using your current perfect system motor?
I mean, I learned initially on the Nitro 200, but I've flown a Blackhawk one time and it was heavy and annoying. I flew Mark's PAP in Korea with the Moster 185. I flew Anthony Vella's Moster 185 on the Parajet Maverick frame. I flew Mark's most recent frame, that extra large frame. So I guess what I'm trying to say to answer your question, like, yeah, I've flown motors that feel a little bit heavy for me, but on the right day with a little bit of wind, it's a little bit more accessible, but I've had to do it in like dead wind too. So yeah, it definitely takes like the grace of God and pure willpower for me to get off the ground with the heavy motor. But yeah, I've definitely launched with motors that feel a little too heavy for me.
Don Wayne, thank you very much for your donation to the show. Really appreciate that, brother. There was a question here. And John and Dave, if you can help me, my friend Tim Garvey. Tim, by the way, thank you. I got your text message today. I'll send you a message after the show, buddy. That was very sweet. It says, "What's her max height?" What is her max height? Yeah, I'm wondering what the question's referring to. What is her max?
He wants to know how tall Alayna is because the big cage on the Mac Fly is big for a short person.
Oh yeah, I'm 5'6".
Oh wow. I thought you were shorter than that.
No, I'm a little bit taller than that. But yeah, I'm 5'6". I hope that answers his question.
Yeah, that's he just wanted to know, because that he just wanted to know if the frame was dragging when you were taking off, I guess.
No, and that's definitely something we looked at. I put it on my back, obviously without it on first, and we kind of checked where it was at. But I will say one thing I've noticed between the difference in the Nitro and the MacFly frame, the air conception frame, I should say, in the MacFly frame, is I feel the torque from the air conception frame in my waist. So I feel it lower. And then in the MacFly, I feel it more at my chest. So I definitely have to pay a lot of attention with that extra large frame to like leaning back, so that I don't let it push me down on my face. So that's really the only thing I try and be really conscious of with that larger frame.
Tim Garvey just clarified his question. The question was, what's your max altitude? How high?
Oh, geez.
How high have you been up? I read the question. I'm thinking, okay, so what's her max?
That's weird. I was thinking he was asking her height because of the big paramotor.
Like how tall is Mark, your max height? So,
I just am asking. I'm asking Mark right now what he thinks my max.
Oh, they're matching onesies. Holy cow! Welcome, Mark.
My whole family is wearing these matching onesies.
Oh, that's the picture.
that. All right, Linda Anderson likes to take a picture of the show. I think this is a good time, Linda Anderson, take your picture of this show right now. That's awesome. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, buddy. I think we should play How Well Do You Know Your Wife, Alayna Huneycutt, now.
She did good. I watched all the questions.
There you go.
You nailed it.
There you go. What's new with you, Mark? You liking your new motor?
Yeah, a little bit.
We haven't had a lot of opportunity for him to fly it, but
Yeah. How's it, Apple?
I don't think the hat's working out. But the motor's been great. I've only been able to fly it twice though, just because of weather and work and whatnot.
Why'd you pick the big cage, Mark?
I wanted to get the 140 prop, you know,
Right.
for future expeditions, high altitude stuff, tandem flights, things like that.
I got a question for you, Mark. We have a couple other questions that just came in, but earlier we asked Elena, you know, her comfort level when flying with you and landing in maybe some difficult areas or doing things that are outside of her comfort zone. Have you ever flown with her and hey, we're going to do this today, and then she gets there and she's not comfortable and you're thinking, maybe we shouldn't do this, or maybe we should find a different thing to do today? Do you understand the question?
Yeah, I heard it. I can't think of anything. Did you?
say it one more time.
I was asking if he's ever like gotten you up in the air and he's hearing you saying, I'm not really comfortable doing this. And him saying, okay, maybe we shouldn't do this. Or she's knocked you and done it all.
I can think of one time, and it's when we decided to fly to the Biltmore House, which is the largest home in America. I don't know if anybody knows what the Biltmore House is.
No
We
idea.
almost didn't go do that flight because I was having a hard time launching in nil wind, I think. And then we just ended up pushing through and going. But that's like the only thing that comes to mind.
Robert Michaels wants to know who's the toughest female paramotor pilot.
Who's the toughest female? Well, I don't know.
Okay.
That's subjective. That's hard to say.
I am.
Market.
Yeah.
You've got Leah, you got Amelia. There's some really amazing.
A lot of women come to mind when I hear that question. So
Linda Anderson, your heads are cut off. Okay. Vance Oliver asks Elena, do you still fly the Ramaflex, and would you like maybe a newer Spider 4?
I am still flying the Ramaflex, and we had or Ramaflex. I probably didn't say it right, but we've talked about me potentially getting a new wing in the next year. Right now, it's not really in the budget since we just purchased a new paramotor. But yeah, Spider 4. I like ozone. So.
Mark George, one of our sponsors. I'm wearing his shirt today. Paraswag USA. How many flights does Elena have under her belt? Or you can say how many flights or how many hours have you flown?
So I counted up until like 140 flights, and that was like over a year ago. And then I just kind of lost track. So I'd probably guess like now 200 to 250 maybe.
That's good. Okay. Just me. I just happened to look down. It's hard for me to look at the chat when I'm interviewing, but and Dave just put it in there for me. Just me says, I used Huneycutt promo code for Wisconsin Flight Sports today for the helmet.
Yay! That's awesome.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Did you get the well, I guess we don't know, but hopefully you got the big gel inserts. I just got the larger gel inserts, so that's nice. They started selling those.
Yeah, and they're really responsive too for like questions about the like headsets once you get them. Like any question that we had, they were really quick to respond about them.
I think, Dave, it's about time to spin this wheel for these props from Justin Fox of Fly My PPG and Sky Fox Paramotor.
Sky Fox Paramotors, yep.
All right, tell you what, give me about 30 seconds, make sure I don't have any double names, and we'll be ready to go.
One other question that Elena and I were going to ask in the show. Guys, what do you have in mind for fly-ins this year?
Personal favorite is Bad Apples. We're going to go to as many as we can. We like to go to them.
When is Endless Foot Drag?
No,
May?
I'm thinking about that too. I wanted to say no. May is Bad Apples.
They moved it.
Yeah, I think it's July. I want to say July.
That'll be so. I get out of the Army in June, and I will be a free bird soon after 8 years of prison. So I can't wait.
You're gonna miss it.
Maybe.
But I've never been to Palm Bay. I think that would be a fun one. And then also Salton Sea would be really cool to go to eventually. There's probably a bunch of other ones that are super awesome that I don't even know about. So.
Yeah. How you doing, Mr. Ruff?
I am just about ready to. Let's see here. I got to figure out how to do this.
Oh no.
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
Got it. All right. All right.
All right. Let's see here.
Here, this is for the props. If you win, you take it off. Take it off, Dave. Take it off.
Take what off? Take the wheel off?
Yeah. Okay, redo it again.
Dave didn't like the center button. Oops.
All right. Let's see here.
Oh, that's going to cost you, Mr. Ruff.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to. But hey, look, now this is all done in fun because I know Dave has a couple pictures of me, and I'm trying to fire because I'm starting to put more videos out. I'm trying to fire back. All right, Dave, hold on. I'll share it. Hold on. Give me a second.
Do I need to get off this show so I can be on the wheel too?
It might be a good picture of you, Mark, if I remember it. Bad Apples.
Josh Bowden, thank you so much. Just made a very big donation. Nebraska Paramotor. Yeah, Josh is awesome. Josh just donated props this past Thursday night on Paragliding Talk. He's a great advocate of the sport. He is a great supporter of Resurgence PPG too. So if you are in the Nebraska area, I'm going to give a plug to the Nebraska Paramotors. Please check out Josh Bowden.
All right, let's see here. Here we go. I think. Is that better, Dave?
Perfect, Dave. Go ahead and spin the wheel.
Oh, wait a minute. That didn't count. Well, I go. You know what? Here we go.
There you go. Wheel. All right. Is it spinning? We're spinning.
Not yet.
We got a winner? Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Robert Michaels.
Get out of here.
God. Congratulations, Robert Michaels. As he would say, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Wow. Well, congratulations, Robert Michaels. And that's coming from Justin Fox of Sky Fox Paramotors and Fly My PPG. Congratulations. He's going to be getting his paramotor here very, very soon.
As Robert says, winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah, congratulations there.